Hello everyone, Jeff here with a bit of an overdue update on Antilia. I'm not going to do my kind of conventional update where I do kind of like the feature highlight sort of thing. Instead, this time I'm just going to do kind of a live stream style where I'm just going to run around the game world. We're going to look at things. We'll just kind of talk about things as they occur, and I'm sure you'll see some of the rough edges of Antilia this time. Some of the bugs and glitches. We're going to hit bugs and glitches, and we'll just kind of take it as we encounter it. I wanted to give everyone an updated look, and it's been a while, but every time I go to make this video, it just kind of becomes a bit overwhelming with all the features and things I need to be showing. So I'm just going to try and keep this a bit simple, and we're going to get involved in a little combat here if we can. So we have a combat system in Antilia. It's first pass. It's not great. It's clearly got some limitations and some issues. And some of them I'm not necessarily going to fix right away. I'm going to think about this, kind of let it stew where we've gotten to with the combat system, and then come back and do another pass when I've got some good ideas on what I want to do next. So we're just going to run around a little bit, and I'm going to definitely kind of get derailed. Just please bear with me. This will probably be kind of a long-winded, rambling update. But I wanted to give you guys all an update. It's been too long since I did one of these, and it's kind of becoming a distraction from the project itself that I just need to get this done and move on. We got Jadao and Ishi over here fighting one another. Can't see the Jadao. I think he's... Anyway. So I'm pretty happy with the way combat has kind of turned out in the sense that we've solved a lot of challenges and learned a bit about how our server behaves, and definitely did some performance tuning there and got a lot better support for like a lot of creatures and stuff in the world. Places where it's a little broken right now is like this creature didn't get its play animation command to show the little death animation. And boy, there's a lot of audio I notice. I'm wondering what's going on that is creating so much noise. I hope that's not... Let me just check real quick. Okay, that's just I have the audio turned down. That's just the Ishi attacking one another. There's a few of them making noise, so that's fine, that's fine. So I'm going to try and head back towards town. We'll take a look at some of the other stuff that's been going on. We've got NPC behavior system improvements, and just a lot of other little improvements like the chat window and whatnot to look at. But this will be kind of a bit of a chill look at Antilia. I'm not going to get too hung up on, I'm going to make mistakes here and flubs, and I don't want to do a bunch of takes on this. I've kind of already done that for the past few weeks, so I'm out of energy, so I'm going to eat some food. I'm just using a hotkey here to eat these little fruits. And boy, we got a bunch of enemies to fight this time. One thing that is pretty bad right now, and it's pretty typical of just game development in general, is getting the kind of like the collision detection working well. Like I'm aimed at this one, but the sword is for some reason hitting this swampy tree over here, and I can still... Another kind of annoying bug is that after I knock down an Ishi, I can still hit them. So you'll be trying to hit an Ishi, but you'll be hitting Ishi corpse instead. So there's a lot of little gotchas, a lot of little oops. I didn't really think that was going to happen. For some reason, sometimes they don't play their animations properly. Locked on to I don't even know what. Yeah, it is what it is. I was kind of doing this in a bit of a pencils down style. Otherwise, I could just sit here and spend another 6 months polishing this before we're ready to do a video. At some point, it's just kind of pencils down. Let's just take a look at the state of things as they are and answer the question, when are we going to be able to test? Why can't we test right now? Well, there's kind of no point in having you guys test right now because there's so many things that are kind of obviously broken or obviously need more work. And having you all kind of, go through the trouble of downloading the game and all of that just to have a miserable, broken experience, I just don't see the point. I want to keep working on the game, get the combat system working, all the systems working in general. And also, I'd like to kind of work on something like a quest system, something to give a little bit more purpose to why you are kind of here, and give you some quests and things to do other than wander around and harvest and fish. That kind of worked on the MMO because there was a strong social aspect where a lot of it was just kind of hanging out together. I don't know if it really holds up, especially if you're playing single player, to play the game with it the way it is right now. Because there's kind of, once you've kind of run around a little bit and explored, there's not a whole lot more to do. So we started out, I'll pull up the map here real quick. We started out over here by the Tapey shipwreck. My mouse pointer is gone because I hit mouse while I was aiming. Okay, there we go, got my mouse back. So we started over here by the Tapey shipwreck, and we've kind of wandered around through here, saw some ruins, and now we're kind of over here. We'll head back towards the village, and if I've set this up correctly, we should encounter a character that we can do a little experiments with as far as the, sorry, I thought I saw something, as far as the NPC behavior system is concerned. So NPC behaviors was something that I was talking a lot about in the last video. I ended up redoing it basically from scratch in this since then. And we'll see why in a little bit here, and I'll talk a little bit about why. Again, it was kind of a first pass system, so it got a second pass, and I'm much happier with it after the second pass. It's a lot more robust, and lets us do a bunch of things that the first pass couldn't do. We got some, I think we've seen this before, how the game has these kind of like overworld caves you can go through. There will also be even deeper caves that will require zoning, because that's kind of like a whole different scene. But these overworld caves are pretty neat, I think, as well. So just passing through here. These are supposed to be like kind of like check posts, little guard posts, where the Tapey can kind of prevent Ishi from coming through the cave here and attacking a village. But they can just go over the mountains. So I don't know how effective that is. So here we are. We're in the Tassi Garden area, a little village, and we've got Hero here. He's our little test character. So one of the things I've done is I've included a behavior editor in the game. I talked about this, I think, in the last video, but it's a real thing now. I decided to put it in the game rather than in the editors, just because it might be a tool that is handy for game authors and server admins to use. So here's Hero's behavior, character Hero. He's gonna check that he has a bunch of, pants, shirt, sword. If he doesn't, he's gonna go over and try to equip those things. And once he's all done with that, he'll attack any nearby targets. And if there's no targets, he'll follow my character. So a bit complicated. I'm working on another system that allow us to have kind of like little functions. And there's already like a bunch of built-in functions, extinguish fire pit, catch fish, set equipment, take items from dispensers and containers. Some of these are for creatures specifically when it comes to like them having nests and sheltering in their nests or claiming a nest. Got some defensive stuff, attacking. Some simple little kind of logic checks and stuff that you can use to modify behaviors. And these are just kind of the actions. There's also variables we can pull from, server variables and constants. I kind of already have this input-output parameters because I want to be able to create one of these little diagrams as a function that you can then drop in as a little node in another one. So we could have something like a Tasiyama behavior, and then that Tasiyama behavior might have like a tribe ID that goes into it or a tribe leader that goes into it. So that'll give us a lot of functionality and flexibility and the ability to reuse complex behaviors like this. Like I don't really want for every character to have to lay out, if you don't have any equipment, go get the equipment. I'd like to wrap all that up into a basic get yourself equipped kind of sub function. And we have other, obviously the different Ishi have their own, like here's a swamp Ishi, here's their behavior. They really don't do a lot. They just kind of attack and wander around if they're not attacking, for the moment anyway. So pretty happy with the way this has turned out. This gives me so much power, and it's so fun because I can just, I don't know if I did it yet. Let's go back to Hero here. I think I changed him, but I didn't actually save. Hopefully I didn't save yet. Let me check. Yeah, he's still standing here. Okay. So we changed it just by connecting this start to set equipment. I'm gonna hit save changes, and he's gonna start doing his behavior. And that's another bit of complexity that went into this, is just being able to set their behaviors and change things, and they immediately kind of, adopt their new behavior. And another cool thing that the new behavior second pass system does is it has a separation between the behaviors and the action steps. So the behavior nodes, which you saw earlier, they actually manage the behavioral steps that are used, like walk to container, put on, clothes, equip this, check this. And that has a lot of cool advantages as far as, it gives me a lot of advantages as far as being able to do things like having a behavior that is follow the party leader or follow a guild. So the guild could actually issue steps to the character. So a lot of really cool power kind of going on under the hood now as far as NPC behaviors that we just didn't have a year ago. Still need to do a lot of work on that as far as adding more nodes and steps and debugging that. It really does get really complicated. It's kind of delightful, but also a bit hair-pulling, watching characters not behave the way you intended them to. We have player shops now, so I could talk to Torlila. Oh, we have NPC conversations. I don't know if we had that in the last update. I don't think we did. So the conversation tree system is kind of back. Pretty nifty. It's got a nice little font rendering system that can involve animated effects and stuff. So, let's talk to Torlila again here. And we'll, that's odd. I was supposed to be able to sell to her. That's the first time. This is just the way it's going to go in this video. I'm not sure why sell to is disabled this time around, but that's okay. We don't really need to sell anything to her. I'll look into that. Probably just got a flag got changed, and I just haven't noticed in quite a while. So it looks like we're buying the pink fishing pole, I guess, because that's what she's got for sale. So we'll buy that fishing pole. And just kind of a quick demonstration. I'm sure we've all seen fishing before, but I'll just do it real quick. Because one of the things I did before this video was just a general try to get everything in kind of a decent working order. I guess I already have a fishing pole, so we'll just use that. You don't need to see the specific fishing pole. And there's new glitches like that. We go into aim mode, and now the arrow aiming thing is appearing. I didn't show shooting arrow. Oh, that's a bummer. Well. Catch a fish here. So we got just a little fish there. This character's starting to resume kind of the cooking we had before, kind of a cooking behavior where a character takes fish from here and lights the fire pit and stuff. And that's not all entirely working, but it's coming along, getting that back in a good working order. There's a couple characters over here who are laying down dead. When I added one of the systems to ensure that the characters, just adding, having the KO state in general, I kind of lost track that there's a few characters that had 0 health, so now they're KO. So I have to go log in as that character at some point. They're my characters associated with my login. And just ignore all these crates over here. They're just here to provide. In fact, I was going to pull this staff out of here. They're just here to provide a bunch of equipment that I can pull from and just kind of test different, bows and daggers and whatnot. So we have quite a lot of them now. That was something I was working on a year ago. It's just, these are all what I would call kind of decorative things. They're not craftables yet. I'd like to get to the point where we have craftables again. Bring the crafting system back in. I don't know if I'll get to that this year. This year I really, there's a bug. This is one of those bugs where I could go into the editor and fix that real quick, but I know I'm going to completely replace this floating island, so it's kind of not worth it right now. So we do have the ability to shoot bows and arrows and projectiles now, which is pretty nifty. In fact, if I hit one of these lampposts, I believe I have a little effect on the lamppost. That's another big thing that we built last year was the effect system. You have to actually hit it. Oh, there we go. So I hit the lamppost and it plays a little effect. So we have a new effect system, which is pretty nifty. I really wish I'd added that a lot sooner because it's so useful for so many things that I can now play an effect that's just in the world or attached to an object or attached to a weapon that you're holding. A really powerful system that lets me attach meshes and lights and particle systems and sounds, all sorts of things. With their own little expiration times and kind of a lot of like animation features and stuff as well. So really happy to have that new system in place. Passing through now the Jadao Grazelands, and I kind of, I went through Tossie Garden there real quick. Just kind of raise the camera up and just talk a little bit about some of the areas we've been through. So we started out way over here by the Tepe shipwreck. You can just see the ship over there. Then we wandered through the Tangled Lands. There's a little Isle of Mist area over here with this will be like a mage's guild. And there's also a large area over here for what I'm temporarily calling the Swamp Temple. It's not really going to be a temple. It's going to be more of a ancient ruins kind of thing. But that'll lead into kind of a path into Mount Gajoy. Those that played the MMO might remember there was a path you could take with a smelter and such that would lead into a cave. And that's going to be kind of a little different this time. It's going to be behind a little temple dungeon crawler kind of thing. So, and then here's Tassi Garden. I do have plans to redo the Blue Coast line over here. The Blue Coast, that's kind of a Tasiyama area. So something that I'm kind of looking forward to doing. And we do have a lot of kind of neat behaviors. The creature nests now spawn eggs. The eggs, they incubate. If I just get near it, I might be able to hover over it. Yeah. So you can see incubation is, kind of coming along. And when it finally is done, it'll drop out a new Jadao. So even if I destroy all the Jadao or whatever, or delete them all, they do start regrowing back. And that's going to come, I have plans for that, especially with like the Ishi nests, which we saw a few of them when we were running through the Tangled Lands. I think it'd be kind of neat if you could destroy Ishi nests and they wouldn't spawn for a while, and just make a kind of a more interesting system out of all that. Just things that I'm planning. I'm going to go ahead and eat some more food here. You can kind of see your food and their effects by hovering there. And I guess while we're at it, we might as well just grab some more. Another one that's kind of been high on my annoyance list, the worst glitches are these frame hiccups, especially when you cross terrain pages, because it's a very large game world. It's streaming in and out as you run around. So there was one right there. Those hiccups are probably about at the top of my fixed list as far as things that really need to be addressed. Unfortunately, it's also one of the most complex issues to address because it involves improving the speed of loading all the different kinds of objects. And it's mostly down to the buildings, characters, and boy, there's one other thing that's kind of expensive to load. Mostly the buildings and characters, of course, because there's all sorts of compositing. Now the buildings get loaded from such a far distance away. Like if I raise the camera, you're going to be able to see the buildings from the other side of the map, basically. So most of the buildings at this point have already been loaded. So sorry, I'm not trying to make you dizzy there, but so the teleportation system, it received some updates too. We can now teleport to different areas. That's actually working pretty cool. And I have a new system too that teleporters are parts. You just tell it what group you're in, and when the game loads, it figures out what all the groups are and kind of makes this list all dynamically, which is really cool. So a little sports screen over here with a little stadium up there. Figure that might be fun at some point to. And let me real quick. I'm going to have Hero stop following us. He probably got a little lost at some point anyway. He was technically following us. I don't know if I didn't look. Oh, there he is. Okay, so he is still following us, but he should stop now. Because where we're about to go, I don't want to drag him all the way to the other side of the world map here. Checking everything is going okay with the recording. So we'll keep moving, and I'm hoping to just kind of run all the way around the game world here and just kind of look at some of the new areas. We're getting close now where we'll start to see some of the new world building areas that have been added. And those are, again, they're all work in progress. So a lot of it's kind of rough or incomplete or, I might remove entirely. That was a weird bug. That's another reason those little frame hiccups are annoying is they create such a long lag that it can break other effects, which ideally that wouldn't happen, but it just kind of starts to domino a little bit when one effect starts breaking other effects and stuff. So I think the sun is going to set on us soon, so I'm going to go ahead and put my lantern back on. I don't think we're going to be doing more combat past this point. I think the mushroom Ishi may attack us, but nothing else should. So this area is kind of I was calling these the burning sands, and then over there's a lighter sand area that I kind of call the blinding sands, a little bit of a cheeky joke about how the blue makes uh, the white sand a little unbearable to look at in the broad daylight. We'll try and get through this area kind of quick. I think we've seen this area before. San Jadao crossing the bridge here. The pathfinding system is not great, but it is, for the most part, kind of doing what it needs to do. You do have the typical, because it's node-based instead of using a navigation mesh. And I had to do that just because, one, I wanted to start a little simple on that one and not overwhelm myself, because it's a big paged world, and the server has to be able to load kind of all of it. Even right now, on the server end of things, the Jadao and Ishi are in the swamp fighting one another. Those battles are still raging on. Now, I do have a nice prioritization system where the updates those creatures get are far less than the updates around active player characters. But they do still get updates, just not as regularly. Maybe every few seconds they still get updated. So that allows me to make sure that, characters and creatures, they can follow paths from one side of the map to the other and, be able to do so without getting stuck. So yeah, that that mushroom Ishi, he is trying to attack me. In this particular area, I only have pathfinding on the road. So it's kind of easy to, he'll get stuck chasing me along the road, and I can just kind of wander off the road here and he'll lose track of me. So I'm pretty sure this area has already been seen as well. I had this working quite some time ago. I would like to get it so you can chop down all the mushrooms and get mushroom lumber, but it's just, not quite a priority right now. But so I'm trying to think other things that we've added in the last years is kind of like server news, and it's also kind of the player list and chat systems. So you can type in here, hi. Got emojis that you can use. There's a little script console. So kind of a neat little thing. You can also make pin it. You can make multiple ones. Don't need to dive too deep into all that. Oops, didn't need to do that. So let's just hide that. Yeah, there's a nice little built-in system, and it also supports Lua scripts. I've been integrating Lua scripting into the game. Got that working fairly well. In fact, I could demonstrate that real quick here with a little fish command. And you can add your own little scripts to do this sort of thing. This is actually this script right here only has 3 or 4 lines of code to even do that. It's pretty nifty. I'm going to take a little shortcut here to avoid there's an invisible wall over there that I need to sort out that's happening because of the way caves and whatnot work. Try and jump up here. I'm gonna need more, oh no, I'm out of food. Oh no. Oh, we got a little more. That's lucky. I need the food here to double jump over another invisible wall that still affects right there. So, and I'm using, the skill grid, acrobatics here. So multi-jump. So I have double jump. That's actually an actual skill that you have to find. You might have seen a couple of these little weird pavilions. I might have passed a few already. And those are where we get the skill cards right now. I want to change that, of course, to put those into the conversation trees and the quest system. So in the future, instead of just going up to a pavilion and clicking on a book to get the new skills, you'll need to go through a little quest and maybe join a guild and go through some guild quests or something, get some of the skills. And while we're walking by this building here, I'll just demonstrate for anyone who hasn't seen it previously. I think I showed this in a previous update that, I hope that character doesn't kill me while I'm editing buildings, but we do have a full building editor in the game. So I can just, go in here and I'll use deck, add a couple more deck tiles. It's crooked, oh boy. Anyway, and you can hit the build button. Hopefully that took, oh gosh, there's our messed up deck we've expanded. Obviously, it's not the idea that any character would be able to edit any, oh boy. These Ishi are gonna give me trouble, I can tell. There are quite a lot of them. Wow, okay. I'm trying to think, what can I do to break their ability to pathfind me? I might, you know what? Here's a real cheesy way to solve this problem. We'll just go to Ishi. A cave. And we'll turn off their behavior. Oh, that's mushroom we need actually. They should stop attacking me now. Okay, so let's get our lamp out so we can see. And we'll go through some of the caves. So this area is called Gajoy's Claw. This is the more substantial cave system. There's a village of Gajoy's Claw, but this region is kind of also, I just call it Gajoy's Claw. So, a little bit of a neat little campground here, partially underground, partially not. You will see as we go through the caves here, because I've redone the caves several times recently, I haven't gone back through yet and cleaned up some of the glitches with the terrain. And there is a limit on each terrain page can only have 4 or 5 textures, I should say. Yeah, it's 5. So in some areas you'll see a hard line where we've exceeded the number of textures, but we haven't really. It's just that I haven't gone through and kind of like told the page, hey, clean up all the textures that you think you're using, but you're not really using anymore. So we'll see a couple of those glitches as we pass through the area here. Wow, there's a lot of KVC just wandering around. This is totally new. I think I might have changed the pathfinding recently and just haven't played a whole lot since then. So a lot of KVC just standing around. And I've done quite a bit of work just making these, just playing in the caves and just creating different little cave biomes. Some of this I'm sure I'll keep. I'm kind of happy with some of these areas. Other areas will need to be redone or just, tidied up and improved a little bit. The transitions especially are kind of harsh, where you can see, and this could be a little cleaner and stuff, but. Have this kind of gemstone area. Kind of figured this would be kind of almost a rust area. There's supposed to be more crystals, but they're not appearing. I noticed that a while back. Here's one of those transitions I was talking about where it just ran out of allocated pages because I kept changing this terrain page over and over again, and now it doesn't even know which terrain layers it's supposed to have. Not a big deal. I just need to keep cleaning things up and work on some tools to help clean that up a little better. I kind of like this particular little area, just passing through an almost like an underground swamp. Then finally, as we come around the corner here, we'll come upon the village of Gajoy's Claw, which wasn't really featured. It wasn't something we had in the MMO. Trying to get my mouse pointer back. For some reason, that's another little annoying glitch. When you cross a terrain page and you have your mouse pointer vanish because you're in rotate mode, sometimes it just gets stuck that way, and I'm not sure why. You have to click several times and then it comes back. Might be a Windows thing combined with that long hiccup, I don't know. So here's our little underground village. And this is pretty much going to be the only shipping port in and out of the Isle of Kasau. That was kind of a plot point in the MMO, was that there wasn't really a good way to get the island because of all the swamps and rocky shorelines. So this is kind of the one port in this cave here. And I'm working on some story that will make some significant use of this area. So that'll be something to look forward to, I think. Just before I get too far, I'm going to go ahead and just raise the camera up again. Yeah, we'll go back a little bit. There's a few other little areas kind of up here that we're going to kind of skip past. With another little mushroom area, and then back there will be, I'm planning a little Reisui village. So we haven't talked a whole lot about the Reisui and Saki, but I really would like to see those appearing. Probably not in 2024. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to them. I think I'm going to have my hands full with getting the quest system working, and if I'm lucky, I'd love to see a bit of crafting back in the game. So those are kind of higher priority, but I am definitely thinking about Saki and Reisui because I'm trying to kind of wrap up the Isle of Kasau to kind of make it into kind of a complete sampling of the Antilia, the world Fora. So we're gonna come out here on this island I call the columns. We'll raise the camera up and just kind of take a little look. Unfortunately, it's getting dark. I'm debating whether I should real quick log out and change the time. I guess we won't for now. But yeah, this is the area we call the columns, and then back over there is Molly's Beach, which is Molly's Beach is something I was working on just in December of 2023. Definitely very incomplete, very with like color palettes and stuff. I still need to do work on it, trying to figure out what the color palettes are going to be and stuff. But I am starting to accumulate little features about Molly's Beach that I do like. We've tried a couple different layouts and they didn't really work for me. So this latest version started to have a few elements which like, okay, now we're starting to get somewhere that I kind of like with the floating islands and whatnot. So there's also a regular hiccup, frame rate hiccup in this area, and I'm frustrated by that. I'm not sure what's causing it. It only happens as I'm passing through the columns area here. And I suspect it's just something like a character that's not loading. If you look at like video RAM usage, you can see it doing a little sawtooth pattern as well, where it tries to create or load something and then fails and then drops back down and then it tries to do it over and over again. I'm not sure what's doing that. It's just a case where I'm gonna have to kind of start turning things off until the problem goes away, then turn it back on and slowly, narrow down what exactly is in this region that's doing that effect. It only seems to happen here, and there's not a whole lot going on here, so figure that one out. And as far as all these buildings, I started to talk about this earlier when I edited that building. Some of them will be reserved for things like guilds and whatnot, but I'd like to see a lot of them just being kind of general houses. Some of them will be, of course, reserved for specific NPCs. It just doesn't make sense to make things too hard on ourselves with NPCs that can move from houses, and then they'd have to change the furniture, and let's not go there. That's a little out of scope, I think. So I think a lot of the houses will just end up being kind of owned by a character, but then I'd like a lot of them to be properties that the player can own, and if the player doesn't own them, I'll probably have, there's going to be kind of like these named NPCs that are significant, and then I'll have just kind of other roaming NPCs that are just kind of generated to kind of fill in the world, and that'll kind of give us a little bit of elasticity when it comes to multiplayer and stuff. I think I am going to restart the game real quick here. So I'll just pause the video. I'm going to restart just to get rid of this annoying little frame hiccup. So just give me a second. Okay, we're back. So that seems to resolve it. I've got my frame rate up here. We're getting a nice solid 60 frames a second here again, without that annoying sawtooth pattern. Frame hiccup. Over there, that's Lennar actually, in this upper area is Lennar's crown. Again, just need to go over there and kind of clean things up so it doesn't have these ugly, stretchy effects. That's just kind of a content editor kind of thing. So, oh, and I should mention, I changed the time back to early morning. I was a little concerned that if we run around at night, YouTube compression and stuff is going to make things kind of smear and look a little uglier than they need to be. So here's kind of the city or village of Molly Beach. I've only got houses in this one area. There's regions over here. Here we go, the mouse cursor again. Come on, give me more mouse. Yeah, there's houses missing still over here and over here and over here. So still quite a bit of room for adding more to the Molly Beach area. But we'll kind of run around and just look what we got. I think I've touched on most of the major things I've been working on. Some of it's kind of invisible, like server performance improvements that took quite a bit of time the past year. But I'm actually really happy with the server performance at this point. I don't really want to pull up the server performance monitor thing, but it's really actually quite good right now as far as being pretty low on the CPU. And that's good because, I still have more regions like the underground that I want to add. There's more characters like the Reisui and the Saki that I want to add in time. So having a bit of headroom when it comes to performance would be real good. Is it? I'm just looking at the frame rate. Yeah, it's dropped a little bit. I'm just kind of noticing it. I was wondering if the sawtooth pattern would come back. We'll add some more houses in this area. And then just kind of, I don't know if I've shown this before, but just a little bit north of Malé Beach here, there's actually a little bit more tangled land. So I'll pull up the map again. So, we started here, we went around here through this little cave, went to Tassi Garden along this road, went through the Burning Sands, here's the Mushroom Forest, we went through the cave systems. Ignore these big blobs, these are unexplored, these are areas where I don't either have a exploration marker or it's not quite working right, but until you explore an area and find the exploration marker, they're kind of blocked off and hidden, kind of a fog of war effect. So here's Gajoy's Claw, that little village. We went through the columns, up through Malé Beach, and then up here is that Western Mangrove. So trying to decide kind of how we want to wrap things up here. I think we've kind of looked at most of the interesting things. One thing that I do try to do, and I don't want to spoil too much, is that there are some neat little kind of secret routes and secret places that I'm slowly kind of adding and hiding. Obviously, I don't want to point them out and spoil it, but you can kind of see this incomplete little cave area here. It kind of leads off to a kind of a shortcut. That one's kind of hard to miss. I guess we can go jump up onto one of these floating islands using the teleport system. Kind of close off there. So, trying to think, yeah, if there's anything else interesting I should mention about 2024 development. I think I'm really going to be focusing on storytelling, like creating the characters, giving them more dialogue, giving them little quest lines, start creating some goals for the player, start establishing things like the various guilds. I'd really like to get it so that we can go into houses and have that work a little better. It's kind of working a little bit already, but it doesn't work great. When we zone into houses, sometimes we encounter little glitches and stuff. So I want to polish that up so that we can start going inside of buildings where we can have shops and whatnot. And then just continue working on the characters, giving, I want to put an emphasis when I do my storytelling on creating likable characters that you kind of have some attachment to. A lot of games I've kind of played lately, I've been underwhelmed at the storytelling in them and how little I am encouraged to even care about the characters that are part of the story. It seems like they're just, a lot of games are so, and not to complain about other games and stuff, but just where I'm coming from, I want the player to feel like, like they care about these characters before we just throw you into endless action sequences or whatnot. So that's something I'm thinking a lot about right now, is just what kind of stories could I tell? So here's an example of a isolated talk-in network. We'll go to the upper island, I guess. Can always drop down to the lower ones. So drop me a little high there, but that's fine. So here's one of the floating islands we're up on top of now. And you'll notice some, like the trees look a little silly from this angle and stuff, but one thing at a time. That's just something they'll need another pass to make the trees behave a little better. But and these areas over here, like obviously the terrain just looks terrible over there still. I have plans for this region up on top of Mount Gajoy's Claw to have a bit of a nightmare ruin. It won't be subtle, so there's no point in keeping that a secret. And then we have Mount Gajoy's Claw, or Mount Gajoy, the peak. There's a little floating island here. And then back down, Tassi Gardens over there. So there'll probably be another one of these kind of fountains somewhere as well. So, not to spoil everything, but just, I don't think it's really going to be a spoiler. When you get in a game, you're going to see this stuff from afar. So just stuff I'm working on. And yeah, the terrain is a little glitched over here. I haven't exported distant terrain in quite a long time, and it's there's some pages that aren't loading right anymore. So just not a priority. It's an easy fix, just not something I want to spend the time on just right now. So I hope you enjoyed this little look at Antilia and the current state of things and development. I'm working away on it. I spend time on Antilia every week. I'm always thinking about it, and sometimes I have to kind of go back and redo things, and things I try don't work out. That's just kind of the way it goes. We don't have a particularly large dev team right now. It's mostly just me making all this stuff. So, but I'm having a lot of fun. It's really cool to, have, even if some of this technology is kind of, because it's just me and it's kind of slow going. Some of it kind of isn't what I want it to be, but it's actually really, I'm really proud of what I've been able to put together. So I guess that's going to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you will tune in again next time for the next update. So take care.